How are you today? How are you today? How are you today?
I'm fine.
Did you have a good day at school?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Anything you want to share about school?
Today I only had science. Every day had science. No more any periods. I only have science.
Just science all day?
Yes.
Wow.
Not all day. Only day we only have science.
I see. Well,
I learn about human body.
okay. Well, that's pretty important. You need to know about that. Okay, when we didn't have any words last time for you to write sentences, did we?
Yes.
What did we do?
That time I think we only have story.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think we had any words. All right, well, I'm going to read this book to you today, and it's going to take most of the time. For the love of, and I want you to write down 3 words before we start. So the first word is kibble. K-I-B-B-L-E. Can you spell that back to me? Can you spell it back? Can
K-I-B-G-L-E.
it's BB, 2 B's. K, yeah, 2 B's. K-I-B-B-L-E. Kibble. Kibble. Do you know what kibble is? All right. Well, when we read and we come to that word, we'll stop and talk about it. All right. The next word is pounced. P-O-U-N-C-E-D. Pounced. Can you spell it back to me?
P-O-U-N-C-E-D.
Yes, pounced. P-O-U-N-C-E-D. You have any idea what pounced means?
You jump on anything.
Yeah, you know that one. All right, the next one is adored. A-D-O-R-E-D. Adored. Can you spell it back?
A-D-O-R-E.
Adored. Do you know what adored means?
No.
All right. Well, maybe we'll get some clues from the story when we read it. All right. Okay, so let's begin. This is called For the Love of Autumn, and the author is Patricia Polacco. That's the same author as Thunder Cake, the book Thunder Cake. Patricia Polacco. And there's a picture of autumn. It's a story about a little kitty. All right, here we go. When Danielle saw Autumn for the very first time, she held that tiny kitten in the palm of her hand. She marveled at how perfect and small that creature was. Danielle named her Autumn because it was almost Halloween. It was love at first sight. So autumn is another name for the season of fall. And Halloween is in fall. I don't know if you celebrate Halloween in India, but that's a holiday in the United States where children dress up in costumes and they go door to door and ask for candy from people.
I know that they'll dress up like Halloween, like monsters, ghosts,
Yes,
witches.
yes.
They go to every house and they had one basket, one Halloween basket, and they will go to each house and they ask candies. Grown-ups also will dress up like ghosts. They will give candies.
That's right. Do you know what they say when they knock on the door? And they say trick or treat, trick or treat. Halloween is the last day of October. So October comes in the fall. And another name for the season of fall is autumn. So that's how autumn got her name. All right, here we go. Poor little thing. You look like you haven't eaten for quite a while, Danielle said, as she gave her warm milk and a bit of food. Then Danielle made a special little bed for her to sleep in. She set out water and kibble and a litter box. So there's the word kibble. She set out water and kibble and a litter box. Are there any clues there? Tell us what kibble is.
Kibble is a box.
Well, she set out some food. So kibble is dry food for a dog or a cat. It's another name for food for a cat. Kibble. So she set out water and kibble and a litter box. Danielle looked forward to coming so that she could hold and pet Autumn. As each day passed, she loved more and more. Soon, Autumn was scurrying around the apartment. She tipped over the trash, pulled the laundry out of the hamper, knocked all of the pencils and papers off the desk, and jumped out at Danielle's ankles as she walked by. Oh, she was kind of naughty, wasn't she? Danielle was a student teacher. When she came home from school and tried to correct her students' papers, Autumn would lie right in the middle of them. After dinner, Danielle would pop corn and they'd sit on the sofa together and watch TV. And at bedtime, Autumn would curl up in Danielle's arms and purr and purr and purr until they both drifted off to sleep. One day, as Danielle opened her mail, she squealed with delight. Oh, Autumn, I got a teaching job. It's in Port Townsend, Washington. I've always wanted to live by the sea. Port Townsend is right by the sea. When Danielle packed for the move, Autumn hid in the packing boxes. She wrestled with the packing shreds and pounced on the bubble wrap, popping it as she landed on it. These are big pictures. I don't know if I can get them in the on the camera, but he's playing with Danielle playing with Autumn. Danielle and Autumn drove all the way up the coast of California through Oregon and into the state of Washington. Finally, they came over the crest of a tall hill. And there it was, the beautiful little village right next to the sea. The school had arranged for Danielle to rent a cottage right on the bay. An enchanted cottage, she thought when she saw it. Autumn loved her new little house. The very first thing she did was disappear right up the chimney. And when the kitten finally came down, she was covered with soot and ashes. Autumn helped Danielle and unpack. She got inside every paper bag that hit the floor, jumped into every box that was emptied, and almost knocked over a stack of Danielle's favorite china. The first evening, Autumn and Danielle sat on her sofa, eating popcorn and looking out the window at the sea as a warm fire crackled in the fire. There she is, all dirty from coming out from the fireplace. She was covered in black soot. So they were, can you see the sea in the background there? Out the window, I guess. There was a little house by the ocean, by the Pacific Ocean. Danielle loved her new school and adored each and every one of her students. She adored her students. A clue about what adored means? Danielle?
She take them to make their baby, her children.
Yeah, she liked them just like her own children. She loved them. Danielle loved her new school and adored each and every one of her students. Miss Parks asked her one day, "Are you married?" "No, not yet, but someday, when just the right man comes along, I will be." "How will you know he's the one?" one of the children asked. "I'll hear the sounder, I'll smell jasmine, and the wind will blow his hair. I'll know that he is exactly the one." "Oh, Miss Parks, do you think he's out there somewhere?" little Mary Proctor asked. "Oh, indeed I do. I can just feel it," Miss Parks answered wistfully. And there she is talking to her students. They're asking her questions about if she's married or not. Yes, Danielle Parks loved her students and she loved her little cottage just as much. She planted a cottage garden. She pulled weeds and fertilized the lawn and trimmed the hedges. She even painted the wonderful old trellis. As for Autumn, she loved the place. She raced about the garden, stalked butterflies in the flower beds, climbed the apple trees, and even perched herself atop the trellis so she could watch the birds in the new bird bath. Both of them settled into their new life in that little cottage by the sea. There's Danielle planting the flower garden by the cottage by the sea. And do you see the trellis there in the background? Remember, we talked about a trellis in Thunder Cake because the little girl climbed up the trellis to get the fresh tomatoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a cage to go out to the sea.
Do you see the bird bath there?
Yes. The birds who can.
The birds use a bird bath drink. They drink from the water and they also take a bath in it. One afternoon, when Danielle got home from school, a terrible storm was raging. There was thunder, the sky was black, and the raindrops hit the roof with a pinging sound. Autumn didn't greet Danielle at the door like she always did. Danielle searched the house, but she couldn't find Autumn anywhere. She called her next door neighbors to see if they had seen her. Oh, she's probably hiding out somewhere with this fierce storm, her neighbor reassured her. Excuse me. But Danielle was worried. Late that night, Danielle heard a scratching sound at the door. She opened it, and there was Autumn. She was soaking wet, and her tail had a big, huge gash in it that was bleeding. Danielle reached out for her, but Autumn shrank from her touch and ran into the night. Danielle ran after her. She walked around the neighborhood in driving rain, calling, Autumn, Autumn, but Autumn did not come. She had completely disappeared. See, she has a hurt tail. Yeah, she got hurt and she was scared of the storm and she ran away from Danielle. When Danielle left for school that morning, she left the back door ajar. And that means just a little open, just a little bit. She left the back door open just a little bit in the hope that Autumn would come home. All that day at school, her students noticed that something was wrong. Miss Parks, what do you think Autumn could be? Jamie Ross asked after Danielle told the class why she was so worried. I think all of us should come to Miss Parks after school today and look for Autumn, Jerome Bolton announced. Caleb Dirks stepped up. Yeah, some of us can take the beach. You can look up in the woods on the hill, and you girls can stop at every house to see if anyone has seen her. The children were true to their word. They all came to Miss Parks' cottage. They launched a search that would shame the FBI, but alas, there was no Autumn to be found. Autumn, Autumn. So they searched and searched, but no one could find poor Autumn. Days stretched into weeks. Danielle cried almost every night just thinking of Autumn. There had been rumors that a mountain lion had been seen, and her cottage was very near a state park where one had been sighted. Danielle feared the worst. She walked around the little cottage and cried whenever she looked at anything that was Autumn's. She picked up Autumn's empty little bed and over it. She looked at Autumn's paw prints still on the windowsill. She didn't eat popcorn anymore, nor sit the sea by the fire. Danielle's heart was broken. Finally, Danielle put away Autumn's food and water bowls. She took all of her toys and put them in a bin in the laundry room. But she couldn't bear to put away Autumn's bed. She couldn't bear to brush Autumn's fur off the sofa cushions. Danielle ached from the loss of the heartbeat of her cottage. Oh, the heartbeat, excuse me. Let me read that sentence over. Danielle ached from the loss of the heartbeat of her little cottage because to her, that is what Autumn was. Autumn was the heartbeat of the little cottage. So there she is. Danielle's so sad. She cried every night, waiting for Autumn to return. Do you think Autumn will come back?
Yes.
Well, we hope so. On Saturday, Danielle and her students planted a small bed of flowers where Autumn used to lie in the shade of an apple tree. The children had placed them in a circle on the ground. Well, we'll always call this Autumn's garden, Ben Barber whispered softly. I think she would have loved that, Miss Parks said wistfully. Just as the children were about to leave, there was a small sound and something jumped off the trellis into Miss Parks' arms. It was Autumn. Autumn, Danielle cried as she hugged her. Where have you been? The children surrounded them and gave a group hug. You have been gone for 6 whole weeks. But Miss Parks, she doesn't look like she's been in the woods. Look, her fur is shiny and clean. She looks nice and healthy. Benny Barber noticed this. And her tail, Danielle said as she examined it. There was a horrible gash on it the night she ran off. It looks like it has been shaved and some stitches taken in it. Someone has taken wonderful care of Autumn. There she is in Danielle's arms, and the children are very happy to see her back. All right. Autumn stuck close to home for the next week until one day she left again, only to return the following weekend wearing a flea collar. Well, for goodness sake, who put this flea collar on you? Danielle wondered as she took it off. I have a collar for you, sweetie. Pink, your favorite color. One day, Autumn went away again and came back 2 days later with a phone number scrawled on the collar. Children, Danielle announced in class that morning, someone has put their phone number on my cat's collar. Wow, they all exclaimed. We have a real mystery on our hands, Johnny Carter said. He thought for a minute. Someone was Autumn is their cat. Well, she's my cat, Danielle asserted. Miss Parks, you have to call that number. You have to tell the person she is your cat, Benny Barber insisted. That evening, Danielle paced the floor. She wasn't accustomed to calling someone whom she had never seen before. But Autumn circled the phone and kept looking up at her as if she wanted her to call. Well, goes, Danielle said as she dialed the number. So the cat came back with a collar on that Danielle had not put on her. So Danielle took that collar off and put on her own pink collar.
She had all the pink violins, pink little things.
Yeah. So she's gonna call this number. A voice answered the phone. Yes, Danielle started. Well, my cat seems to have your phone number on her collar. Oh, thank goodness you found Stormy. The voice sounded relieved. I've been so worried. Stormy? Her name isn't Stormy. Her name is Autumn. Danielle felt her face flush. Oh, no, I named her Stormy because she came to my house on a terrible stormy night, badly injured. Her tail had been slashed, probably a mountain lion. No, sir, you don't understand. I have had Autumn since she was a kitten. She disappeared on a stormy night from my home. She's my cat. Well, if she's so precious to you, then why was she out in such a terrible storm? Danielle quickly hung up. What nerve, she snorted. What a rude man. There she is talking on the phone to the man. The man had named the cat Stormy, and the man was taking care of her. When she told her class about the phone call, they were all intrigued. They spent a whole afternoon doing drawings of what they imagined the rude man looked like. That afternoon, Autumn came in the house with a note attached to her collar. When Danielle opened it, it simply read, "Please accept my apologies. I didn't mean to be rude." Danielle quickly sat down and wrote a note back. "I apologize as well. Perhaps I was rude too." She attached the note to Autumn's collar and sent her out the door. 2 afternoons later, Autumn came back with another note attached. "Since we both care so deeply for this little kitty, perhaps we can share her. I live alone and truly love her company." So there's Danielle writing her note back to the man, and Autumn's going to take it back to the man. So what do you think about that? You think they're going to meet each other? When Danielle shared the most recent note with her class, all of them decided that she needed to invite the note writer over to her house so she could meet him. "Oh, children, I'm not in the habit of inviting a perfect stranger to my home. But Miss Parks, he's obviously a lonely old man, and he can't be a bad person if he helped Autumn, could he?" Benny Barber said. All right then. I'm going to ask him to stop by this Saturday," she said. "Oh, can we come too?" the entire class pleaded. "We want to meet him." Miss Parks agreed. And all that afternoon, the children helped her compose the invitation. Oops, I better show you the picture. So there she is showing the children her note that she got. And they talked her into inviting the man to her house. And then they all wanted to come. Saturday was a dark and rainy day. Every kid in Danielle's class was at her house. They were there by early afternoon. All of them had their faces pasted to the front window to see what he would be like when he came to the door. Every time a car drove up, the children would shriek with delight, only to when the car passed by. Finally, just when it looked like he wasn't really coming, had turned away, there was a knock at the door. There he is. They're not showing his face yet. And the children are looking out the window. They want to see what he looks like. You are so sleepy.
Because today I got to wake up at 6 o'clock because I had a lot of work yesterday night. I had slept in 1 o'clock, that's why. Morning, I woke up at 6 o'clock, that's why I'm just
Okay, well, we're about done, so hang on. Autumn ran to the door. As Miss Parks opened it, there was a clap of thunder. The wind came up and blew the trellis so that the jasmine vine unraveled and a clump of it fell into his hands. Another gust blew his hair into his eyes. "Miss Parks, I'm Stephen Norton. I think we share a wonderful little cat."
now he's
Now, do you remember when the children first asked Danielle if she was married, and she said no, and they said, "Well, how will you know when the right man, when you see the right person and the right man?" And she says, "I'll hear thunder and I'll smell jasmine and the wind will blow his hair." And that's exactly what happened when she opened the door. There was thunder, and then the jasmine are these flowers, and then the wind blew his hair, just like she had imagined would be the first time she saw the man she was going to marry. Autumn sprang into his arms and purred and purred and purred. Danielle beamed as she gazed into his eyes. This little cat is the heartbeat of my home, Mr. Norton said softly as he caressed Autumn. A clap of thunder echoed over the bay, and the wind caught the jasmine vine and scattered blossoms everywhere. Why, her students whispered to one another, Miss Parks has found the very one. And Autumn had found them both.
Ah,
See the
but man
see the
making was she did the jasmine flowers in her hair.
That's right. That's the jasmine that
And
she
the man is doing the cat like the puffy like.
yeah.
But I also give my dad so good and to like this like this.
Stephen Norton and Danielle partied that next spring. They shared not only the enchanted cottage by the sea, but walks on the beach, evenings by the fire eating popcorn, and most of all, their love of autumn.
They were eating popcorn.
They're eating popcorn. And where's Autumn? Oh, she's right there with them. I didn't notice she was right there and almost laying in the bowl of popcorn.
And she was taking like this.
Yeah.
Like one teacher, if I wanted chocolates, I want chocolate. But I would take whole chocolates like this.
And that's
The
the story of The Love of Autumn by Patricia Polacco. That was a nice story, wasn't it?
And I also like the cats, where the cats will feed their hands like this.
Yes. Have you ever had a cat in your house?
I got two cats, but one cat was gone somewhere and one cat was dead.
Oh, well, I used to have a cat in my house and I called him Jasper. He was black, but he passed away, I don't know, about a year ago. So I haven't had any cats in my house for a long time. But yeah, I used to have a pet cat. And yeah, you do fall in love with them. They become part of your family. Okay.
I also asked my grandfather to bring me pets of cats, birds, butterflies, rabbits, fishes, dogs.
I think you're an animal lover.
Yes, and most of dogs, I only like the rich breeds, like Rottweiler, Boxer, Pug. The ducks.
Yeah.
Lab, like that. I wanted rich brands, breeds, dogs.
Well, I hope you get to have a pet someday. Yeah.
I also had two fishes. One is white and one is black. But white has passed away before the orange has gone. And orange has also had gone. I daily and nighttime I can put them food only 3 seeds. For both of the fishes, I own 6 seeds. The one fish passed away, and the orange was all the time he cried.
Oh.
Because when we brought them, we had small water and they could not play with it. But when we keep more water in that bowl, it is playing around. One day I kept one sticker on the bowl. The orange fish was seeing like that, like statue needs them is like a statue. Like that is statue.
Oh yeah, well that's what it would look like probably to the fish.
Yeah.
All right, well listen, we're out of time today. We have at least 2 new words, kibble, which is cat food, and adored, which means you like something very much. You love it. So those are 2 words. Maybe we'll work on some sentences with those 2 words Wednesday. And it'll be your turn to work. It'll be your turn to read on Wednesday. So you need to find my story. Maybe another Wizard of Oz story.
Actually, I have to say one thing. On Wednesday, my grandparents has gone to village, and we're building a new house for Raj Paul's wedding. That's why my grandmother asked for a church prayer. Means all the church members will come and they will pray my grandmother's mother's house.
Oh, nice. So we shouldn't meet on Wednesday?
I think my mother has to agree to go or has to.
Okay. Well, you just let me know if we can't. If we can't meet, that's fine. We'll meet on Friday. So just.
Or it's okay. You can meet on mobile. I'll take my books.
You know what?
And we can there.
Why don't we just wait until Friday? We're back home and you can sit at your table, and if you're going to read, it'd be hard to read with your phone, I think. Don't you?
It's okay. Sometimes I will have classes with my mobile.
Well, that's right. Well, you talk to your mom about it and decide what to do. But it's okay with me if we don't meet on Wednesday.
Okay.
All right. Well, you figure that out and let me know what you decided.
Okay, bye. Thank you for the class.
All right. Bye-bye. I hope you like the book. Bye-bye.